What we were talking about before we jumped into our game was trusting your realtor. And one of the things that I know you guys love to do is you love to set the pricing of a home below market value because that creates a bidding war. So what I was hoping we could discuss is what the heck is a bidding war and how do we go about bidding our wars up? So do you guys want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, you guys use eBay?
I have been known to. I sold a couple Xbox 360s in my day.
I heard that story this morning. But I think it's the same type of idea where you create that competitive, competitive edge or feeling between people.
You're trying to get an auction-like atmosphere in the property. So if you price it just below market value, you're going to have more folks that come in and say, wow, this is an exceptional value. And they're going to start to think about putting offers in. And as they're hearing that they could be in competition, then people start to want to compete. And if you can get multiple offers, then you can leverage the offers against each other to raise up the price, which is a win for the seller.
And this is the type of market you could do it in, though. So if the market flips to a buyer's market, then we're not going to be able to do that.
Why is that?
There's just not as much demand for how many houses are out there, so they have different options and more options to buy something else.
So if it's below market value, there's a lot of options, and you place it below market value. Basically, you're just going to sell your house for less than what it's worth in that situation.
When it's a buyer's market, sometimes you do have to price a little bit lower to get the buyers to bite because they aren't as interested. So it can work in both scenarios, actually. But you don't necessarily, you're not going to get a bidding war in a buyer's market, but you're going to get an offer
quicker.
So that is a win in a buyer's market.
Is there a lot of hesitation when it comes to that stuff? You know, first determining, as we talked about in previous episodes, determining the value of your home is a scary proposition, especially for people that think it's worth more than it is. So then you finally get them to accept the reality of what market value is. And then you come back and say, okay, now we're going to actually set the price lower than even that. Do you get a lot of pushback with that concept?
I think it's just again, we advise they make the decisions. So we advise them, here's what we can do and here's how we do it. And then they have to decide if that's the route they want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And I do understand. And the thing is, we have a 3-tier pricing strategy. So there's multiple different ways where people can price. They don't always have to go for the bidding war strategy. Some people, they're just like, that's not comfortable. I'm not doing that. So we can price right at market value. We can do more of a needle in a haystack kind of pricing. We're going to do what's going to work for the client.
What's needle in a haystack?
Needle in the haystack would mean that we're going to look at all the comparables in the area, and then we're going to price above the highest, so that we're basically going to be the top echelon of pricing in the neighborhood, and we're looking for the buyer who usually ends up being the needle in the haystack. It's like that 1 in a million who will be like, all right, I'm paying that. I want that house. It just means in most cases, the seller has to be willing to be on the market for a while because that doesn't always happen right away.
Part of the issue with having the house on the market for a while, though, in this market is, you know, if you're a week or two into your selling process without an offer, people are like, what's wrong with the house?
So needle in a haystack in this market, probably not the best way to go, but we make recommendations and the sellers make decisions.
So you guys would probably say that you make different recommendations on how to price depending on how the market is. Like right now, it's more advantageous because of how hot it is to create that bidding war atmosphere. But when it's more so maybe leaning towards buyers, it's better to maybe, if you're going to sit for a long time, maybe price where you might be able to get more money or price below and sell faster.
It depends on their individual situation, and really, like in past podcasts, we've talked about absorption rates. So if there's, a year's worth of inventory on the market, it would be most advantageous for a seller to price a little under market value to get more interest. Otherwise, they're going to sit for a long time.
It's funny how regardless of the pricing strategy, the final price kind of comes out in the wash once you get offers. So it's a matter of, competitiveness if you want to try to get that competition going between different buyers and get it sold. Because that even if you're doing it that way, your price will probably get right about to where the market value is because that's what somebody's willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Matt, what is market value?
Whatever somebody's willing to pay for it
And how do you determine that?
when it sells.